You've gone through close to 4 years of college, but your GPA just isn't where you were planning it to be, and now you're worried about your chances of getting into medical school. Or maybe you decided late in your college career to pursue something as rigorous and competitive as medicine. I have good news. There is still hope. Here is what you should do. What's going on, guys? Dr. Jabal, MedSchoolInsiders.com. I'll start by saying that your GPA is one of the most important factors in your application. The importance of learning from your mistakes and changing systems to produce more desirable results cannot be overstated. This is a skill that will serve you well as a future medical student, physician, and human being. If you are unwilling to revisit your systems and optimize your studying, learning, and testing strategies, you will not be successful in this journey. We provide dozens and dozens of videos and blog posts on how to optimize your GPA and MCAT. If you haven't already, these free resources are going to be the best place to start in improving your own study habits and strengthening your numbers. Now, in order to strengthen an application with a weak GPA, we first have to understand why medical schools care so much about your GPA. It comes down to one thing. Can you handle the rigors of medical school? At Med School Insiders, our teams combined dozens of years of experience on med school admissions committees and advising students have made us intimately familiar with the ins and outs of the medical school application process. Medical schools are particularly interested in your science GPA and MCAT to judge whether or not you can keep up with the demands of medical school. The material isn't particularly challenging, but the quantity and the rate at which you learn is unprecedented. As they say, learning in med school is like drinking from a fire hydrant. Understanding this, it makes sense that the best thing to do with a low GPA is to perform well on the MCAT. That won't just happen from wishing it into existence, though. It's a matter of restructuring your study strategies and study habits. We have several videos on this channel and blog posts on the website outlining how I got a 100th percentile score. In reality, can't go higher than 99.9. But we also go into how you can achieve a top score by utilizing a series of systems and study strategies. To take your score to the next level, we also offer tutoring with top MCAT scores on our website so you can actually learn from the best. But let's say you've already taken your MCAT and your score still isn't where you want it to be. Here are the next steps. First, decide if you need to retake a course. If you have a D or an F in any of your prerequisite courses, including biology, chemistry, physics, math, English, biochemistry, psychology and sociology, etc., you need to retake that course. Simple. Learn from your mistakes the first time around and crush it on the second go. It is imperative that you master this material, not only for the MCAT, but schools will also require, at minimum, a passing grade to count the prerequisite as fulfilled. There's no need to retake a course for a B or even a B-. Retaking a course with a C is generally not necessary either, unless you are particularly weak on the material and need it for the MCAT. Some suggest even retaking or auditing a course if you need a refresher prior to taking the MCAT. I would argue against this. Your time is better spent learning from high-yield MCAT resources and doing practice tests, not sitting in a classroom. Number 2, bolster your transcript. Let's be realistic here. Your GPA can only change so much, even if you were to get straight A's from here on out. That's just simple math. With each subsequent semester, your GPA becomes more and more set in place and harder to change, either up or down. Schools understand this, and if you had a suboptimal early career in college, they don't expect you to have a 3.9 by the time you graduate. Rather, demonstrating a consistent upward trend is essential. This is much more encouraging for a medical school to see. Perhaps you have learned to hone your study strategies and now are ready for the rigors of a medical school curriculum. For this reason, the second half of your university transcript is going to be more important than the first half. If you've already graduated, consider taking 1 or 2 years for a post-bac or special master's program, preferably one offered at a medical school. Do not take these programs lightly. Solid performance is warranted. Shoot for at least a 3.5 or higher if you're going the DO route, and a 3.7 or higher if you're going the MD route. Formal post-bac programs are more targeted to those who are switching careers and mostly provide the prerequisite courses. Certain programs have reputations of graduating a significant portion of non-traditional students into affiliated medical schools. You could absolutely do the same thing independently at a nearby college. Of course, a 4-year program would be stronger than a community college. But if costs are a major concern, don't rule out the community college option. If you do opt for a do-it-yourself path, take classes that are similar to what you will be taking in medical school. For example, anatomy, cell biology, histology, immunology, molecular biology, pathology, physiology, etc. Now, SMPs generally offer classes that are at the med school level, or at least cover the same material, and they last either 1 or 2 years. These are generally affiliated with medical schools and can be promising routes to gaining admission. You'll be gaining exposure to medical school faculty in the process, which can be a significant advantage. However, this does come at a significant financial cost. Additionally, SMPs are considered high risk, high reward. If you perform poorly and cannot get into a medical school, then your SMP degree won't be of much help elsewhere. Ultimately, the post-bac versus SMP route is highly personal and will depend on multiple factors on an individual level. Number 3, strengthen your experiences and extracurriculars. While applying to medical school requires you to check certain boxes, we at Med School Insiders believe in a more individual approach. Many of us were competitive college athletes, dancers, artists, and musicians. Every applicant will have completed volunteering, gotten clinical experience, and done some level of research. Definitely do not overlook these important aspects of your medical school application. However, I advise you to consider a more holistic picture to the process rather than just completing a checklist. Target the research that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be basic science cancer research. By doing research that you are genuinely interested in, you'll be more likely to work harder, excel, earn an abstract or publication, and even get a stronger letter of recommendation. By pursuing extracurriculars that you enjoy and by working on developing yourself into the type of person that will become an excellent physician, you'll be much more successful in the end. I was fascinated by the brain, so I volunteered in the emergency department where I enrolled stroke patients into clinical research protocols. I enjoyed it, I got volunteering experience, and clinical research on top of that. On the side, I was the lead designer in an organization which allowed me to pursue my artistic interests and hone my leadership skills. Ultimately, both stroke research and being lead designer were beneficial in my path to becoming a doctor. Number 4, consider DO and Caribbean MD schools. The fact remains that osteopathic DO schools and Caribbean MD schools are significantly easier to get into than United States allopathic MD schools. In addition, DO schools are much more forgiving for low GPAs with an upward trend. If you haven't already, be sure you consider your options and weigh the pros and cons of each path. For most students, I advise going DO over Caribbean MD, but again, that may change based on a few individual variables. Ultimately, each applicant is unique and there isn't a single answer that is best suited for everyone. Hopefully, you found the advice in this video helpful and relevant to your situation. If you need additional personalized help, visit medschoolinsiders.com to speak with one of our physician advisors. They have real medical school admissions committee experience. These are the best people to learn from because they've been in your shoes and have actually served on the adcoms at top institutions. Whether you need tutoring in chemistry, or editing your personal statement, or even need help planning out the next 2 years so that you optimize your performance on the MCAT, we've got you covered. Use the coupon code LOW GPA to receive $20 off your purchase of $100 or more. Coupon is valid for the first 20 customers. Thank you all so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, let me know with a thumbs up. We release new videos every Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, so make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss the next upload. If you have any additional questions, let me know down in the comments section below. And I will see you guys in that next one.